And so there we were, just sat on this boat, and we were sailing across the Atlantic, and I met this young lad called Jack, and he was really nice, but he was kind of like from the lower castes, as it were, and he was very much in the underbelly of the ship, and I was with my family on the top of the ship, but I wasn't really having a good time. And he kind of just showed me the world, and he just kind of really lit up my life, and we had a whale of a time. I even got him to draw a really cheeky drawing of me as well, Brian. You would not believe it. I kind of like laid on his couch and let him draw me. It was amazing. It was absolutely fantastic.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. What? That sounds like quite an experience. Did you survived that experience, right, Jay?
Yeah. So right at the very end, a couple of days later, the ship actually sank. It kind of snapped in half, but I managed to find this door, and I was laid on this door in the ocean. There was plenty of space at the side. I could have pulled Jack on, but I was just too cold. I couldn't pull him onto the door, so sadly he died.
Poor Jack. Sometimes Jack just had to go, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, hello everyone. Welcome to our pre-show, as usual, live a little bit early just to make sure everything is going all right. We see a lot of comments coming in already about our facial hair, which we will talk more about once we start the show officially. We'll talk about what happened, but in fact, you guys do not have two new hosts. We are the same, believe it or not. But yeah, we've undergone a few minor changes, but yeah, we'll address that momentarily, so we don't have to talk about it a whole lot.
Yeah. This is like me back in college.
This is like me back in like never. I never want to remember. Shout out to Captain Schwa for that tier 1 sub on the 33-month streak. The big leader there, I believe. So thank you so much for that, man. It says looking good.
And he's top pack babies here. He's getting close to
That's
4
true.
top pack babies.
That's true. He likes to pop out those top cut kids apparently. But he says looking good. I don't believe him because I looked in the mirror earlier after shaving and I know exactly what I look like right now. I can see it on stream and I know it's terrible and I apologize, guys. But
do you not think he looks a little bit like Langlandia?
I that's what I was thinking as well. I think I have a little bit of Lang in me, on me, around me, within me. Enveloping my spirit.
The real question for chat is: would Langlandia make a better host than Brian?
I don't think that's a question. I think that's absolutely true. I think Lang would. I mean, he has a better voice. He's more attractive.
He's got better taste in music.
Probably knows more shit than I do about anything. Better taste in music, absolutely. Better taste in most things, probably.
Better taste in men because he likes me. So.
Well, I like you.
Well, come off it. The amount you bully me on this show.
I bully you for fun and comedic value, and you know that. Slippery Pete says you both look so effing young. Yeah, I convinced Jay to keep his hair like that, so you guys are welcome. You have me to thank for that.
Yeah. So like before the stream, I just got out of bed because I had a nap, and I said to Brian, I'm just going to go brush my hair. He's like, no, you're not. You're staying with your hair like this. So this is why my hair is like this today.
Ooh,
this is me just out of bed in the morning.
Yeah, that's what you get. People have the greatest comments, man. Visionaire says Brian looks like a book reviewer. Depleted Vespeed says Quakeums, tell your small brother to get away from the mic.
I feel like we need some Langlandia bits and some hipster bits in chat.
Petrov says Jay is definitely in a boy band.
Tasty.
Yeah, someone else said that I was definitely a coffee shop hipster as well.
Yeah, Bluden says you look like a full-blown coffee shop hipster, which I totally agree with. He's absolutely
I've got the coffee
money
as well to go with.
Yeah,
and I had putting a heart in my latte earlier on.
In an interesting turn of events, this actually might be top Clack history. I'm drinking coffee on the show. I almost never drink coffee on the show.
Coffee.
Oh man, people are saying I look great. You guys are blind, man. You guys are blind.
GPNW's in chat. He was a big donator, and Jack Static as well. Both big donators to.
You know what I totally forgot? What I was supposed to do today? I was supposed to wear my Dolch shirt today, so that way I can send it to Max right after. Because I washed it because it was in the wash, and I haven't worn it yet. But remember, he wants it washed, or he wants it unwashed. My apologies, and then he wants it sent to him. So. Because of that incentive, I do have to wear that shirt and then send it to him. So I have to part with what could be my favorite shirt, not show, as well as my facial hair. I'm so sad.
Yeah. So I shaved all completely off on Monday, and what you see here is I shaved again here this morning to try and get close to clean shaven, but I couldn't go any longer without letting at least a little bit grow back. So this is just grown from Monday, but I couldn't go any longer being completely clean shaven. I just looked so young, and my wife hated it. She couldn't even look at me.
Yeah, I did. This is like 2 hours ago. I did this like 2 or 3 hours ago. My girlfriend hasn't seen this yet. She's not going to be happy. I know that.
I kind of missed my beard. Just like I went outside, not yesterday morning, the Tuesday morning it was, and we've had some really warm weather yesterday and today. But Tuesday morning it was freezing cold on the lawn. It was like so cold you could see your breath. And I went outside and my whole face just felt like it was frozen. It was so weird. It was just really
it's strange. So I shaved, and then I got in the shower. I was showering and I was like washing my face, and I was like, this is the strangest feeling. It's been so long since I've like felt skin here, and it feels almost surreal when I touch it. It doesn't feel right. It almost feels numb.
Yeah. I didn't rubbing it in today. I had a great Corona beard going. I did. I was really happy with my beard.
You were looking good.
Sure, it's coming back. The beard, from now, there is no more razors touching this face until the beard's back. And
I don't know, man. I kind of like your new look. It's like, I like the boy band aesthetic. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, maybe I should just keep my hair like this forever now, right?
You should.
It's really curly. It's almost like a perm in there. It's really weird.
We both look a lot younger too, which I guess is a good thing.
This is the longest my hair's been since like college. It's bizarre.
Yeah, I need a haircut as well, but I need to find a barber in this pandemic.
I picked the shirt especially for you, Bledin. Especially for you. I was kind of, the wife said I looked a bit like a hipster with my hair like this and stuff like that. So I kind of picked out a shirt and then made the coffee and yeah. Next week it's going to be a top knot.
A top knot? Oh, that'll make me pretty happy. I like top knots. Shout out to J Shuff. I do like top knots. Yeah. Shout out to J Shuff for he subs tier 1 and he donates 500 OMG bits. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate the OMG bits. All right, what time is it? Is it 6 yet? Not quite 6 yet.
2 minutes.
All right,
2 minutes. Yeah.
We're almost there, guys. We're like oddly prepared for the show today, which is which is like unusual.
Ages before, yeah, it was bizarre.
Brian,
to be straight, don't stay up late, Jay. School night. I know I've got a really early start as well tomorrow. I've got to be at the warehouse for 7 a.m. because I've got a delivery at 8, and then I need to be on a conference call for 9. So I've got a really early start tomorrow. Yeah,
we should have a pretty concise show today too. Thankfully, should be pretty nice. Christopher says, Brian, you could actually pass for a 17-year-old. That's another reason I don't shave, because it just takes like 10 years off of my visage. Oh, man.
Oh, J-Shuff, thank you, man. Thank you.
J-Shuff.
10 tier 1 gift subs, thank you, dude.
Thank you so much, man. That's
J-Shuff, legend in his own lunchtime. That's really kind of you, thank you, man.
Did you just say in his own lunchtime?
Ooh, yeah, do you guys not use that saying in America?
A legend in his own lunchtime? I can't say I've ever heard of that in America.
Okay. It's, it's like, it means like 15 minutes of fame, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Very nice.
I like it. We also got Disco Crocodile in the chat, says legend. Thanks for showing up, man. Glad to have you, as always. But
Rob
thanks,
J.
I
look like I'm off the set of a Duran video. Ooh. Yeah. Something Rio and Girls on Film.
You look like you need to be in the... You need to be in, like, the Aha Take On Me music video.
Yeah.
That's where you belong to. Oh my gosh. Bloodin gifting 5 tier 1 subs as well. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Absolute legends in chat today, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, super legends. GPNW, your board is going in the post tomorrow. DHL are picking it up between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. So the board will be on its way to you. It's actually sat on my hallway right now. It's all packaged and boxed up, ready to go to you. And the set of GMK Bleach that I'm going to donate to you as well. That will ship whenever GMK Bleached is ready to ship as well. So that could be a couple of months, but I will send that price as well.
Oh, whoops. You know what I just noticed that we should do before we start the show is turn off the Nightbot command. That talks about the Clackers Care stuff.
I meant to do it. Do you want me to do that? Let me do that. Let me do that.
Thank you.
Yes, I can do that. Was that Petrov with some bits I saw as well? Then I'm on a different screen now. So
quite possibly. That sounds like Petrov. Yes, Mr. Petrov donating 1,500 bits. Thank you so much, man. That is fantastic. Pride bits even. So shout out to the Pride. Heck yeah.
Ooh,
Okay, that's those disabled. Let me
G-Pone says his company matched his donations as well. That's super awesome because he donated a lot. That's really cool.
Ooh,
yeah, we'll talk about the Clackers Care event. We'll do a quick recap momentarily. We're about to start the show in earnest here, so just to bear with us, guys.
I'm almost there with the commands. Almost there. I should have thought about this. You said we were prepared.
It's because I said that. I should not have said that. It's very unfortunate. Bruin says, "Wow, 2 new hosts." I know, man. I was really. Feels so gross. I just feel so.
Yeah,
I feel wrong.
I'm glad that at least a little bit's coming back. I'm hoping by the end of the week it'll be kind of.
I'm oddly curious how fast mine's gonna grow because it's been what 6 years since I've been clean shaven. I've never really seen like a growth from the start in so many years that it's gonna be interesting to see that what level of growth I'm able to achieve now versus like 6 years ago.
Ooh,
yeah, so this is 4 days for me here, and then this is like I don't know, like 12 hours or so, 13 hours, something like that. So it should be fairly quick for me to grow back.
Nice. All right, you got that command done?
Tasty.
Yeah, the commands are all deleted and
fantastic.
We can roll that intro and we
can get this road on the show, guys. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's episode of Talk Clack. I am your host, Quakums, joined as usual by my very, very especially lovely co-host today, Jay.
The aesthetic is real today.
The aesthetic is absolutely real. Jay, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm good, but I'm depressed about the beard. I'll be honest, I'm very, very depressed about it. I nearly cried when I had to shave it off, and I was stood in the bathroom for about 20 minutes and I plucked up the courage. But other than that, I'm doing great. I'm doing fine.
Awesome. So for those that are curious and wondering what the heck we're even going on about right now, you might notice that we're a little less facial hairy than normal, I guess you might say. So over the last several days, the weekend of the 16th and 17th, I believe, we were participating in what is called the Clackers Care event. It was a 33-hour live stream marathon with 10 or 11 or 12 different streamers, I believe. And we kind of did this this essential like chain or marathon, if you will, where we would just hand off streaming rights to the next person, and we basically just had a tag team with a bunch of people throughout the entire weekend of keyboard streaming goodness, and it was fan-freaking-tastic. It went so much better. It went so much better than I thought it would even, which is just so awesome. So
yeah,
we had
the handoffs were smooth. The people kept around when we raided everyone. It was such a good weekend. It was so good. It was really fun being part of it as well.
Yeah, so shout-outs to everyone that participated in that. Shout-outs to everyone that donated to that. We had a $10,000 goal, and we destroyed that overall. I think we got close to 30,000. So
just over 30,000.
Just over 30,000, yeah. So it was absolutely wonderful. We succeeded quite highly. And, I'm super happy about that. And a lot of people seem to enjoy it, and it went pretty well. A lot of people bid on things in the silent auction. They won a lot of cool things. A lot of great people donated a lot of money for this. There was a key cult. There was a polycarbonate Bauer prototype. There were lots of artisans, tons and tons of good things. Too many to name.
There was even a Romac that went for $350. I saw
that was awesome. That was so cool. And it was just an overall super wholesome and super awesome event, and I really hope that we can kind of get together and do something like that again. Shout-outs to Visionaire, the man behind it all. He did an absolute stunning job behind the scenes. He put in way more time and effort than anyone else, and, shout-outs to him. I definitely look forward to participating in more events, held through him in the future, so... Definitely shout-outs to all of you guys that donated, but, so some of the streamers kind of had their own incentives, I guess, and one of ours was if we crossed, I think at that point in time, if we crossed $4,000, which was about $1,000 shy at the time when we started that incentive, we were going to shave clean shave.
No,
And
no. It wasn't that. It was if we hit the $4,000, I was going to send a random 65% off my wall to GPNW, who because we were like $3,100, and we said if he took it over $4,000, he could have the first 65% I found on my wall, which was space 65, and that's shipping out to him tomorrow. We rebuilt that on the Sunday for the second half of the top Clackers Care streams. But what we did say is if we hit the $10,000 mark, not including the prices for the silent auction, that we would go clean shaven and shave off our beards. I shaved off mine on Monday and it started to grow back. You shaved off yours literally just before the show.
Just hours ago. Yeah.
Much braver man than I am.
I wanted to give the people what they asked for because I knew it was going to be bad.
The second side of my punishment is having my hair just as straight out of bed hair, right? So yeah. And big shout out to Mr. Keeps. Thank you very much for the 14 months of sub, saying Clackers Care was incredible. It was absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much to Skewed for the 500 bits, Bledin for the 200 bits, Rob27 for the 500
Oh my gosh.
Wow, thanks guys. We're at level 4 on the hype
We
train
just
already.
went from like level 0 to level 4
Wow.
like instantly in the hype train. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, guys.
Are we going to have a level 5 hype train week again for the first time in forever?
What did we have one? We had one last week during the Clackers. No, we didn't. It was the week before that, though.
3.
I think we had one recently. I think we had level 5 recently. Regardless, if we get there, amazing. If we don't, no worries, definitely. Geo really trying to get us there. 5 gifted subs there. Upas gifting 3 as well. Thank you so much, guys. It's very, very kind of you. And Flazion continuing a gift sub as well. And Teal to everyone's just throwing it. You guys are way too kind, man. Way too kind.
And Flazion, yeah, wow. And Teal Technic with the 100 bits as well. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you. Just to shout as well, Not Geo says, I think the Jago team with the hair is the best.
The hair makes it.
The hair was my secondary punishment.
This is
grown back. So
this is so unfair because you look so much better and I look so much worse.
Look at this, dude. Look at this.
That's amazing. If I could grow that, I would. I would absolutely do that if I could. My hair doesn't like me though. My hair just looks dumb no matter what I do.
Yeah, at least we didn't do it on stream because I saw Mintley was cutting her hair on stream. I don't know if she's dyed it yet or not.
Oh, she did it on stream?
I did see it actually cutting her hair on stream. Yeah, yeah. So
wow,
really...
she's hardcore. Yeah, she went hard. She's dyeing it as well. That's epic that she's doing it on stream. She goes all the way, man.
Oh, Bledin with another 500 bits. Thank you, dude. With the hearts as well. What are those? Sure love 100. Thank you, dude.
Thank you so much, guys.
Bubblehead Brett with 100 as well. So close on the hype train now. So close, 69%. Hey,
69. That's an okay percent to be on though. I mean, I'm okay with that. Yeah. Nebula says I look better. You're crazy, Neb. You're crazy. But with that in mind, we shouldn't ramble too much. We do still have a show to do today, guys. It's not going to be a super long news doc. It's going to be fairly concise this week, thankfully. So should get through it quite nice. We have some fun things on the dock, of course, and we will round out the show with a Q&A like we always do. So if you have questions, save them for later, please. But let's talk about some keyboards, shall we?
Let's. Where do you want to start today?
I want to start by saying that tasty was perfectly timed.
tasty. I've got some new sound bites coming soon as well. So I'm not going to tell anyone when I'm changing them, but you might hear some new ones at some point over the next couple of streams.
It's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just have to see for myself. It'll be fun.
Tasty.
Yeah, you'll find out when someone donates or subs or whatever else.
T-Sark says this is really weird. Jay looks like my auntie. My auntie. That's
Thanks,
awesome. That's so awesome, man. That's hilarious. Yeah, well, I mean, the whole point is that we look dumb, right? That's kind of the whole point. It was for charity, so that is the whole point. Anyways, since we're still on that 69% hype train, I think it's a good time to start our news doc. And this week, we're starting it off with Mr. Keebs himself, F. Curry, aka, for the Elongate. This is the interest check for the Elongate. And this is a mini 1800 inspired keyboard, if you will. And this is a pretty interesting keyboard, if I do say so myself. So you're going to have your choice between an aluminum or polycarbonate housing. You're going to have a brass or polycarbonate mid-layer, which you can kind of see down here towards the bottom in this picture. You're going to have a brass or polycarbonate plate, but there are going to be add-ons for quite a few other materials. So aluminum, palm, carbon fiber, and FR4 all look like they're going to be add-on options potentially, so that's really cool. You're going to have a QMK and via PCB, of course, designed by Gondolindrum. Very, very nice stuff. Which is also going to have not only RGB underglow, but it's going to have USB Mini, which is kind of interesting. But you can vote for C, which I suggest you all do in the thread.
Brian,
so
you haven't flipped over the screen.
Haven't flipped over the screen? Oh my gosh. Seriously? Wow. Someone should have stopped me earlier.
Well, people in chat were doing that, and I just
oh well. Well, you know, sometimes things just happens like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, now you can see what I'm finally talking about. Sorry about that, guys. There are 2 sets of indicator LED positions. So as you can see, you have LED indicators here between the split space, which I think is really attractive. And you also have 3 more within the split from the main cluster and the numpad of sorts. So that's kind of cool there as well. It's also going to be ran through Project Keyboard, and depending on interest, there could be other proxies as well. And the tentative price actually is pretty attractive here. Looks like it could be as low as $325 for a base kit. So that's honestly not too bad. It looks quite nice. I think the options are pretty darn lovely. And the split spacebar with the blocker and the LED indicators there, that's really, really sexy to me.
I've got to be honest. I'm a real fan of this board, not just because it looks nice and I like the way it looks. The whole kind of aesthetic of the arrows dropping out a chunk on the base of the case. I really like that on the front edge. I think that looks really good. But I also like the indicator LEDs. I don't think they're particularly functional between the spacebar because that's not somewhere I would ever look on a keyboard. But I think it's a really fun idea, and I like the fact that you've got 2 of them. I think it's really, really good. I genuinely think this board looks great. Level 4 Hypertrain, by the way. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate that.
Thanks,
I think especially in the polycarbonate, this just looks great. I've been looking for a 40 that works well as an 1800. The only other one I've got is the Rain, and this is very, very different to the Rain just because of the way it works. I think in polycarbonate version, this could be a really, really good travel board for me commuting and stuff like that. When the world goes back to rights, I could commute with something like this. At the minute, I use my oh gosh, what's it called now? My Equinox. But I think this with the numpad could be really useful. And having the arrow keys just at the side as well, if I could have one of those tap and hold as a function key, that'd be really good for the numpad as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this just looks really good, really stylish, and I think it's really well done. The brass bar that runs across the bottom on the blue one looks really nice as well. Pricing looks great. Layout looks good. Really clever use of the 1.25U ISO shift as well for the right-hand side shift key. I think that's really clever. I think just the whole design looks good.
Yeah,
I've been waiting for this to come out since the 3D printed prototypes Mr. Keeps had, whatever that was, a year ago, 2 years ago. It seems like quite a while.
Yeah, it's a really nice looking board, and the price does seem pretty competitive for a really premium. I'm not going to call it a 40%, obviously, but for a board of this particular footprint. One thing that worries me a little bit is I'm a wrist rest user, and obviously with that that kind of extra exploded arrow cluster there that comes out from the bottom of the keyboard, that's going to cause some issues with wrist rest. It'd be interesting to see a potential custom. Just Dremel it. Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah. It'd be kind of interesting, though, to see maybe like a custom wrist rest for something like this.
Yeah, you could make something simpler. It would be really nice, actually. It'd fit well against it. Yeah, I think this looks really good. Big fan of it, yeah.
Yeah.
This and the South Pole one, that we saw
the one that Royal's doing? Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. Clarabelle, I think it's
called. Clarabelle.
Yeah, it just both must buys for me. They're just both really, really strong contenders for my purchase list.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest, the Serica on the polycarbonate version is just out of this world. I really think the polycarb version is kind of the truth, the reigning supreme champion of this particular board. I just think that combo looks so good. It looks good in aluminum too, don't get me wrong, but if I had to get this board...
Can we get one in to do a build stream? Because I'd love to try one of these. I think it looks great. I think it looks fantastic.
Yeah,
I'm gonna mess.
You should definitely pester him to do a build stream because this is just too lovely.
I'm gonna pester him. In fact, I'm gonna do it right now. I'm just gonna send him a message.
People still talking about our facial hair in chat. I love it. I love it.
Oh, Penguin Droppings is here. What do you think, Penguin Droppings? Improvement or not for both Brian?
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever gonna clean shave ever again in my entire life, unless it's for another charity event, probably.
My beard is coming back, and when it's back, it's staying. It might get trimmed and shaped.
I'm not looking forward to how uncomfortable it's gonna be growing back in fresh.
You'll get to a point where it's going to be itchy after about 3 weeks when it starts to get to that like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do use MacBook Pro a lot, Gio. But I don't live in Starbucks. You wouldn't find me dead in Starbucks.
What? You're not a Starbucks aficionado, Jay?
If I'm going to a coffee house, I want to drink coffee, not water.
Kidding. Anyways, guys, this is looking pretty nice. The interest check also quite nice as well. If you wanna, we're not gonna show it on screen here, but there's a build stream here. There's some sound tests as well. So if you want to go check those out, I highly suggest it. And more info there as well. So yeah, make sure you check this out, and I guess group buy coming soon. Also, I'm glad we're seeing so many boards now having the chance to be ported into VIA as well. Really happy to see that. There was kind of a lull where that like nothing was happening with VIA for a while, but now it seems like things are moving pretty quick, and we're getting a lot of boards in there, and that makes me happy. So
and PCB by Gondolindrum as well. Good shout. That this is one of his Acheron or Acheron projects, however you pronounce that. So yeah, good to see that. And Bill Stream's confirmed. I sent this to Keith a message, said oi, and he said, "Yeah, I'll get you one. Just let me know what you need." So we're gonna have
Yeah, this is a board that I might even have to consider buying, which I don't usually consider boards of this particular size and or layout, but I'm curious about this one. Color me interested. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next interest check, though. This is the interest check for the zekk.works Ogre seamless gasket 60%. This is by Zekken, of course, if the name wasn't any indication. And this is a pretty interesting board. So this is a 60%. This is going to have a 4.5 degree typing angle, so very gentle. Going to have an aluminum top and bottom housing, a frosted polycarbonate half plate, or an aluminum plate in silver or red. And I do believe that's going to be a full plate as well. It's going to have an H60 PCB by Heinebusch with a unified daughter board, very interesting, and a 16.8 millimeter front height. So it's going to be relatively short. It's not going to be too tall, it's not going to have insanely chunky bezels, and it's not going to be very heavy either. We're looking at a weight of around 0.6 kilograms, or 1.3-ish pounds in freedom units, if that's your thing. So it's definitely a lighter, more compact 60% from a lot of the ones that we've seen lately. Colors are going to be offered in silver, black, and a Pantone-matched deep gray and red. And there's only going to be 35 units of this produced, and once it opens, it's only going to be open for 48 hours, but I imagine it'll sell out way before that. So kind of interesting. But one of the kind of defining factors of this is the gasket mount style. So here they are opting for something more a la the OTD 356 Mini or the gasket 00, where you kind of have an O-ring that goes along the outside of your PCB plate assembly, and it kind of sits in the bottom on these ridges, I assume.
Yeah. It does. It's implemented very differently to the GSK T0.
Well,
it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same. Yeah, it's not broadly dissimilar, but it's closer to the OTD.
Yeah,
there's only 4 of the tabs on the
or Jane V2 or the E6.5, I guess, or the CE Jane V2 CE, if I recall.
Yeah,
or
the 6.5, not the standard V2.
Yeah, but what do you think about this? Seems kind of straightforward.
I bought a GSK-T. I think maybe I bought 2, actually. I can't remember. So I'm probably not going to try on this one. Again, the other thing for this one is it doesn't support ISO. A small thing for many, many people. But there's a couple of things that are really, really interesting from the side. First of all, Zekkin's style. I'm a big, big fan of pretty much everything Zekkin designs. He's a great designer. I like a lot of his boards. I like the fact that they're going back to the OTD 356 Mini. All those old boards, they got something right. There's a reason that people like them. They got something right. Stylistically, I think this is on point. I think it looks really good. Couple of things that I noticed about it as well. On the internals, you can see on the top-down view for the base, you can see that there's a flat section, and then the ramp goes up inside later on, and then you can see the cutout for the JST cable and the connector. That's really interesting. It means you can get a really low front height because that flat part at the bottom before you get to the angle on the inside of the case means PCB can actually sit lower. So the angle of the board actually has a different angle to the PCB, which is it's really clever way of getting the front height really low. So I think the first board we saw that on was an Octave 268, but apologies if that's wrong. But yeah, that's the first board I remember seeing it on. So it's really nice to see. So that front height is probably going to be really, really shallow.
Yeah.
The other thing as well I noticed as well is that the USB port is really, really, really low. So they've managed to get the unified daughter board really, really low into the case, and I'm wondering if that's done by flipping the daughter board over so the components are on the other side. So if you flip it over, the USB is on the bottom of the PCB rather than on the top. It gives you a few more millimeters to get it lower. I don't know if that's the case, but looking at the outside of the case, it may well be that they flipped it over to get it that low. So yeah,
certainly,
it looks
certainly
great.
could be. Yeah, I mean, it looks really clean. I mean, there's not a whole lot to dislike here, I feel like. I mean, you have this this kind of ogre, which kind of reminds me of like an Oni character, an Oni demon character.
You're going to say it reminds me of you then? You can try and
yeah, well, yeah, I mean, the horns are a little bit smaller than what we usually get with you, but, you know, it's not totally
I'm not
different.
sure if that was a compliment. The horns on that are smaller.
I'm not sure it was either, but either way, I do think that it looks pretty nice. I do like the logo here. I like the implementation. I think the style is nice. It's very simple, which I think there's no problem with that. I think he made a lot of really good decisions. I like the placement of the USB there. I like the logo. And I like the gasket mounting style. I think this is going to go over quite well, and I like the plate options too. One thing I would like to point out is the pricing of this, which, while not totally unrealistic, of course, it does seem maybe a little higher than the otherwise simple board might lead on. So $375 to $400 is the tentative starting price for a base kit. Which
35 units though.
It is 35 units, so I think that is going to be playing that plays a pretty crucial role into the price being that high. But I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for a product like this. So I think the price is fine. It just doesn't wow me. It doesn't excite me in terms of the price. But I think the board looks pretty good overall, and I don't think it's going to have really much trouble at all selling out those 35 units. So I think if you're one of the people that are out there that actually want this board, then you're probably going to have to be pretty on top of it because you're probably going to be competing
in a few minutes. Yeah.
You're going to be competing with a lot of other people pretty quickly.
Yeah, Chad 11, you mentioned that the gasket mount looks the same as the Unicorn. It is not the same as the Unicorn. So just to be clear, the Unicorn is a tray mount case that has an O-ring that sits around the PCB and plate assembly. But the PCB and plate assembly is then held down with screws that are in the standard 60% tray mount positions, and then it moves up and down on those screws. What you've got here is you've actually got no screws holding the plate and the PCB assembly to the case. You've got a series of tabs that's under a two-part case, not a one-part case like the Unicorn, whereby the tabs on the plate are pressed down by the top case being screwed to the bottom case that compresses the O-ring. So it is very, very different in terms of its mount style. So I can see why you think it's similar because it's got the O-ring around the PCB and plate assembly, but the actual way it's mounted is very, very different.
Yeah.
It will give a very significantly different feel.
Yeah.
It's much closer to boards like the GSKT, the Jane V2CE, although it's the TKL, and some other boards that we talked about.
Yeah. So
you don't have to use screws in the Unicorn, no Hardy Potter, but it's firm enough in there. But even so, the plate's not being connected by tabs under a top case. It's still a one-part case versus a two-part case. So there's still a difference.
Yeah, definitely. So layout compatibility here, pretty limited as far as 60% is concerned, but a lot of people like these really fixed layouts as well. So maybe not an issue here, but you can obviously choose to step or unstep your caps lock. You can do split or unsplit backspace, or you can split or unsplit your right shift, and that's it. So very particular.
On the bottom row.
Yeah, 70 bottom row standard. Pretty straightforward stuff.
You guys know what it is. I don't even need to say. But other than that, I think it's solid.
Yeah.
PCB.
Yeah, Jay can't use it because Jay's not cool enough to use ONC. But I'm not
common enough to use ONC because users. So there you go. That's more common.
Fan freaking tastic. All right, guys. So, by the way, I thought they were listed down here. I thought he had the colors Actually,
They are, yeah, silver,
they
black, deep grey, and red.
didn't he have a picture of them before? Or am I blind?
I don't recall seeing any pictures.
Okay, I guess I'm wrong. I could have swore that he had pictures here. I must be thinking of one of the other topics for today. My apologies, guys. Anyways, so yeah, that's the zekk.works Ogre. So coming out pretty soon, it seems like, guys. Next up, we have the Boston. Interest check for the Boston, which is an open source Austin-derived compact 120%. So we're back to using percentages on this, and we've gone over 100%, which is always kind of fun. This is by Pylon, and this is a pretty interesting board, if I do say so myself. So as you can see here, aluminum housing. You're going to get a brass weight/foot system, which I'll show off here a little bit more in these pictures. 6.4 degree angle, which is oddly specific, and a PCB that features QMK, USB-C, a rotary encoder, which you can see above the escape here in the top left here, USB-C of course, and potentially a single color backlighting, depending on how the interest check goes. But I think the key thing to take away here is this what he's calling a compact 120% layout. So how do you feel about this one? It's top mount, by the way.
Yeah, there's some things that are okay with the layout, and there's some things that are just weird choices. So I'm all for doing bigger builds, Hyper 7 and things like that is things I've done in the past. I know it's not my project anymore. Hyper 7 is now run by a different group, but I can see some things that I like on this. I kind of like I kind of really like the arrow cluster, the way the arrow cluster's done. It has that blocker to the side of the arrows before you hit the numpad. I kind of like that. I like the rotary encoder type thing in the top left corner. I don't like the fact that it's got 2 F rows. It just feels a bit too much. I don't know. I can't think what I would need all those keys for. That's the thing.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sold on it either. It seems a little excessive. I imagine there is going to be a niche market for this. I mean, there's a niche market for almost everything. So there certainly is, to be sure, people going to be wanting to buy something like this. But I gotta. Yeah, he estimates between $400 and $600 for a base kit.
Ooh, very.
Which is about what you'd expect for something like this. If not, maybe a little generous. I will say, I do think, as far as the layout is concerned, it seems a little excessive. I don't know how many people really need something like this. I'm also not 100% sold on the style either. It looks a little outdated in terms of our community. Obviously you have a 2-part seam. It's a flat kind of 2-piece keyboard. Then it has this this brass foot system, I guess you can call it. It doubles as a weight, sure. Gives you some angle depending on how you want to mount it, whatever. But I don't know. It's not visually that appealing to me. It doesn't seem very exciting. It just seems very expected and perhaps done before. This is certainly a style that we've seen before many years ago in the keyboard community. So it doesn't seem very new, other than the layout and that rotary.
It actually reminds me of the old LZ boards with the kind of foot weight on the bottom of essentially a flat case. But I'm interested with the daughter board design as well, because there is a secondary daughter board that actually recedes right into the brass foot weight, so you can't use it without the brass foot weight.
Which is kind of weird, but yeah.
A bit unusual, a bit strange. But yeah. Okay. I don't think this one's for me, but I'm sure it'll do well anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to pass on this one as well, but perhaps there is definitely a market for it. Here's your layouts, of course, pretty darn limited, but you can do ISO, so there you go.
Yeah, great.
Let's go ahead and move on to...
Actually, before we do,
okay.
the only issue I've got with the layout, sorry, just one last thing on the layout. There's no other option for the bottom row. There's only one option for the bottom row.
Yeah.
Which is strange. For a board of that size, you'd expect a 6U option as well for the bottom row. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty fixed plate. I assume that, at least from what it looks like, you'd have to get a different plate to even use the ISO to begin with, so...
Yeah, which is fine. That as long as the plate files are open source, that's fine. There's no problem.
Yeah, that's fine. Alright. Let's go ahead and move on to our next interest check, guys. This is the gaff.60, an HHKB style board by Hannibal Chu, formerly Pixel Script. And this is a a somewhat interesting 60%, I suppose I should say. It is a HHKB top, as you can see here, aluminum housing. It's also going to be HHKB top only, so you're not going to get windkeyless, you're not going to get standard, HHKB only. 6-degree angle. PCB is going to be QMK Type C, and also support to for C2C, which is always cool. I like seeing that. 1.5 millimeter aluminum plate, which is nothing out of the ordinary. However, you're going to have 2 plate options, which I'm going to try to find right here. Here we go. So you're going to have a more standard solid plate, I think is what they're calling it. So that's the normal one kind of at the bottom here, HHKB of course. And then you're going to have this more leaf spring-esque one at the top, which as you can see is going to give you a lot of relief cut along the entire outside edge of the plate. And that's going to give you a much softer typing experience and probably a fairly different sound signature as well. So this is kind of interesting. You're going to have your choice between either the solid plate or what they're calling the sprung plate, I believe is what they're going with. You're also going to have an internal brass weight, which looks very similar to Rama's internal weight system. You're also going to have 2 color options. Oh, here's the one I was thinking of earlier that actually has a RAL and a Pantone color matched color. So these are going to be your only 2 color options here. So, which is kind of this kind of cool gray and this. I don't. What is this RAL? What would you call this RAL color here?
It's like a blue, like a deep blue.
Like a deep blue. Okay. So there you go.
Yeah.
Those are going to be your only 2 color options by the look of it. It is going to be top mount, and he's aiming at least for a $300 base kit or less, which seems pretty interesting, especially if that includes the brass weight at the bottom. And a PCB. So if you can achieve a sub $300 price point with a full kit, including a weight and PCB and the plate, I think that's going to be quite a win. How do you feel about this one, though?
Yeah, there's some interesting design choices as well on this one. So the bottom piece isn't actually like a bottom case that sits inside it. So although it's a seamless design, it's not like the bottom sits there and then the top goes around it. This is very much a plate that just slides into the bottom instead. That usually leads to a bit of an echo sounding board. If you think of boards like the CA66, which had something quite similar, it usually does mean there's a little bit of echo because there's more room in there and there's thin walls and things. So don't know, might be different on this particular one. There's no measurements of the thickness of the walls or anything, but it's just something to bear in mind. The internal brass weight will help. That will dampen the sound a lot because that's a chunk of metal. That's a huge chunk of metal. So it wouldn't surprise me if that changes the sound signature as well. I think the leaf plate design's kind of interesting, but there's a lot of points where it's going to have really firm experience. So the way that the connectors are along the bottom row, there's one right under the space bar, and there's ones right towards the edges of the control. So I suspect that the idea behind the leaf spring is that it kind of gives you a flexible movement independent of where the mounting points are. The actual main part of the plate can move up and down. You're not going to have that here because it's not really a leaf spring design. All it is just a gap in between certain areas.
Yeah.
So a leaf spring kind of has to have a gap that goes back on itself so that you've got 2 different areas that are independent. This doesn't actually achieve that in the plate design. So I think it's going to have some firm spots and some soft spots, and it's going to feel kind of inconsistent on that particular layout and that particular design.
Yeah. Totally agree on that. But it could still be potentially pretty interesting. I'm very interested to see how their proto turns out. You do have some layout support here, fairly standard HHKB stuff, but you can also opt for a full backspace if you'd like, or full right shift. You can split the left shift if you want, or you could step caps lock. Totally up to you guys, but that's about what you'd expect from an HHKB layout board. To me, it doesn't look terribly exciting. It looks fine. But if he's able to achieve a $300 or sub $300 price point with all of this stuff included, I think it's going to sell quite well because it's going to be a pretty nice experience per dollar, hopefully. If the typing experience is pretty well. I guess we'll have to wait and see, especially on the sprung plate, like you mentioned, the mounting point there by the spacebar in particular. They do seem placed kind of interestingly, and potentially that could be rearranged, depending on how the protos turn out, I assume. So we'll have to wait and see. Just an interest check, as usual, guys.
Yeah, I think he came back and said that the first round he wants to do a batch of 15, so I imagine the price is going to be higher because I can't see any way of being able to manufacture that price. 15 units. And you got to remember, guys, the fewer units you make, the more expensive the price is comparatively. The more you make, the cheaper the price becomes because it's just churning part after part after part. So it becomes easy to manufacture a machine at scale. So there is a lot of economies of scale in that. So I imagine it would be more expensive if it does limit to just 15. But yeah, we'll see.
Yep. So there you go, guys. Look forward to that if that is your kind of thing. Something that is currently in group buy that I think we forgot to talk about last week, so I added to this week's doc, is the DGL TKL. We did check this out, interest check, a while back. This is by, I think it's actually by a studio, but it's also by Chanmin Kong, I believe is how it's pronounced. And yep. This is a kind of a, there's a typing test, of course, but this is kind of a bulkier TKL. As I sort through some of these pictures, I'll read off a few specs here. Aluminum housing, you're going to have a standard or win keyless top. There's going to be about a bazillion different color options, both in anodization and Cerakoting, which you can check out listed towards the bottom of this thread. And you're going to have a QMK PCB with Type-C that's going to be able to support ONSI and ISO. You're going to have a relatively tall front height at 20 millimeters. You're going to have a 4 millimeter sandwich-mounted plate in either brass, aluminum, or FR4. However, the FR4 plate won't actually be that thick. It'll include a, I believe, 2.4 millimeter spacer with the plate that'll kind of act as that extra stability. So this is very much a thick plate kind of typing experience is what they're going for, it seems like. Yeah, so that's the DGL. You're also, interestingly enough, you're going to get 90 free springs in one of your weights of choosing when you order the board. So you randomly get springs with it. Starting price is $450 for a base kit. That's the starting price, so not the cheapest thing in the world, but, you know, it is a relatively bulky TKL, so nothing terribly out of the ordinary. And the group buy closes at the end of the month, on the 31st.
Yeah, I think this has got some interesting design quirks to it. I don't dislike it. I kind of like the chunky bezels, the rounded corners. That's all fine. I would have preferred it as an F13. I think vastly starting to prefer an F13 TKL to a standard TKL, but that's just personal preference. I really dislike the USB port on this, though. I'm not a fan of that at all. I'm not sure I understand why it looks the way it does. It doesn't look like it uses any proprietary connector, so I'm not quite sure what the thought process is behind that. And yeah, I'm not a fan of the USB port on the back. It just looks random, bizarre, and I just don't understand it.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, it's going to be using a Type-C connector, so...
Yeah. But it looks like what you do is you put the Type-C connector into the board, and then you put that over the cable or something? And
I guess so. It seems unnecessarily designed that way, but, you know, maybe people are into that. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. As Neb says, if I wanted something like this, I would have probably gone for the Square 80, which was a much more interesting design.
I agree. I think the Square is a much nicer looking board, but yeah, I don't know. To me, this seems like a board that maybe won't do quite as well in the West, but maybe it's more of a more popular in the East, because it's always interesting to see the kind of like trends that happen between the East and the Western communities. Yeah. They often are very, very different. In terms of what everyone likes, so
there's only been a few designs that have crossed over really well. The Canoe, the CA66, for example, those are designs that have crossed over really well and become really popular. But many of the designs that we do over here in the western side of the world, the people in the East don't seem to enjoy that, and they prefer the quirkier, you know, the more unusual, the more adventurous styles of things like these. You know, thicker plates seem to be more preferable over there as well. But perhaps I'm just not ingrained in that culture, so I don't know.
Yeah,
there was one really interesting one with a bird design on the base the other week that I saw as well, which is the board itself was weird and bizarre, but I did like the way it was.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, guys. Well, that's the DGL, again, open until the end of the month, so you have a few more days to get on that if that is your kind of thing. Let's go ahead and move on out of keyboards and over to some key sets, rather, and up first, yeah, key sets, believe it or not, and it's not a GMK set up first this week.
No, GMK, wow.
Yeah, we got a lot of our GMK out of us last week, so we got some Infinikey going on this week. The interest check for PBT Amalfi. I don't actually know how this is pronounced. I'm not. I guess I'm part Italian technically, but Amalfi. Okay.
Yeah, Amalfi Coast, yeah.
Amalfi Coast. Okay, so this is kind of inspired by the spirit of vintage Italian travel, is what he's going for here. And yeah, this is kind of interesting. It looks I know some people have been talking and saying that it looks a little bit like the GMK Deku, which got interest checked recently. Obviously, this is not exactly the same. This is also not GMK, so I do think there are certainly some differences. Very different theme here as well. Love the reference image, by the way.
And this has been in development since, I mean, I think Nathan showed me this probably 3 months ago, you know, in its early infancy, so it's been going for a while. Couple of big shout outs to it as well. I really like the fact that the Windows key or the GUI key doesn't have curd or anything else like that. It has cursed on it, which is a really, really nice little nod to the gods as well, you know, just to kind of keep it on theme. So text novelty as standard in the base kit, that's kind of nice. Kind of
subtle text novelty. I like it.
Yeah, it's subtle text novelty as well. A lot of people may not have noticed that, but it didn't escape my attention. And of course, basic ISO support in the base kit as well. Accent keys for your arrows, your enters, and your escapes. You know, a couple of different spacebar options, coverage for pretty much everything you can think of, and some blank keys as well. There's 4 blank row 1 keys as well for you to use as you'd like in the above the numpad. So yeah, lots and lots of different options. But we've seen this from InfiniKey before. You know, more and more sets are starting to run in InfiniKey now. We've had Grayan and Islander and a few others run quite recently, have done really well. And I think Sanctuary and Bread have just shipped as well as white on black and black on white, and the blacks and the colours are looking better than ever. So I can see why designers are starting to pick this now. It's much more viable than people would have thought 6 to 12 months ago.
Yeah, absolutely. So base kit looks out honestly pretty decent. And, you know, being InfiniKey, we know it's not going to be super expensive either. This is probably going to be roughly an $80 or $90 base kit, if I had to guess, just based on some of the recent InfiniKey sets. Of course, that's the Roma, which is the base kit. And there's the sorry if I butcher this. I don't actually speak Italian.
All roads lead to Rome, right? That's the reference there. All roads lead to Rome.
Oh yeah, okay. Is this next one, this extension kit here? Is this Isole?
Yeah.
Isole. Okay. Visit the islands off the coast to complete your board. So that's the kind of extensions kit, which give you some 40 support, some space bars, of course, maybe a little bit of you know, UK ISO. It looks like in here, F13 and beyond, and some of the more extra compatibility kits. Yes, sorry, very very sorry, US ISO. Sorry to depleted Vespine in chat.
The whole 4 people.
Sorry to the one person that watches us that uses US ISO. And then there's the Antipasti kit, which is your kind of novelties kit, I guess. And this is a pretty nice one too. This is very much this feels like a Nathan kind of novelties kit. It's very much not overly done. It's relatively simple. You have some semblance of text novelties in here, although they are obviously a different font, so it's kind of different. But I think these are pretty successful. They're refined.
Yeah, I like the north, south, east, and west keys as well. They're really good in the novelties, and the of course the mountain as well. I think it looks really really good. There's not a lot to dislike about this. If you kind of like softer coloured sets, this might be for you. Some nice renders there on the Evolve as well. Yeah. Oh, and the JO2. I didn't realise it was JO2 renders. But there you go.
Oh well, I can't show those off because obviously you know. Yeah. All right, I'll show it off. Yeah, I mean, the set's kind of grown on me. When I first saw it, I wasn't really that interested. I got to be honest, but now that I'm looking at it a little bit closer, I think it's all right. It's kind of nice.
You just got to set yourself in the scene. Just imagine yourself sat in the sun, glass of wine. You're at the coast. The keycaps are the kind of the color of the sea. As the twilight approaches, you got the little white crests on the top of the waves. You know, you look down and you can see the terracotta houses between you and the coast as it goes down the hill. And that's the kind of the pinkish keycaps. I can kind of feel it, man. I can kind of feel it.
Yeah, no, I get it. And to me, that's extra important because like right now, like as I've been saying a lot lately, like I don't care nearly as much these days about colors. Like colors of a set are one of the least important things in the community to me. So like you got to sell me on like a theme if you want me to buy a set as well. So like you know like that's exactly what you got to go for, man. Close your eyes and you just got to visualize that stuff, and you can kind of get. You can pull a little bit more of the theme out of it. I like that. People think it's cheesy, and I can see the validity in that. But man, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. So yeah, that is PBT Amalfi coming to InfiniKey near you, and presumably it'll be run on TKC since you know.
Yeah, I think they've confirmed TKC and Switch Keys because of course this was developed in partnership with Steph from Switch Keys as well. So yeah.
Awesome, fantastic. All right, let's move on to something that I've been pretty darn excited for as well. This is the interest check for GMK Dolch R5, or Round 5. And this is coming at you from Lightning XI, aka Lightning Keyboards, aka Diego Meow. He goes by a lot of usernames, I think. But
yeah, all sorts of names.
Yeah, but Dolch making another run, and obviously this is nothing totally new. Although there's definitely some new things going on here. We've seen Dolch before. Classic colorway. This is one of those sets where I think, and a lot of people probably agree with me here, that it should be very accessible. This is a set that should be running a lot, or it should be like in stock somewhere to buy, similar to things like black on white on black, maybe even Honeywell or 9009. You can make a case for those. I think Dolch is just another one of those classic colors that no one really owns. It's just something that anyone can kind of put their own spin on. And I like this a lot too. This is a very kind of iconic, classic version of Dolch. He has been thinking about redoing this for a while, so I guess now is the time. So a couple things to note here is he does have the base kit rendered here with text plus icon mods, which is currently the planned version. However, in the interest check form, you can vote for icon mods only, and that's exactly what I did, because I am a big fan of Dolch with the icon mods ever since it was, reran in by Kekon. The Dolch, the Dolch Reborn, I think it was called. I really like the icon mods, so you can actually vote for that in the thread, which is really cool. But that aside, a couple other things that are going on here that are pretty interesting. Check out the row 5 compatibility. So you don't get a whole lot of row 4 support here. So you just got the row 5 bottom row. So that's going to make quite a few people happy. Jay, I'm sure you're one of them. I am as well. Love me some row 5.
That alone makes this set worth buying.
Yeah, and honestly, look at the way the rest of the set is structured, too. It's honestly set up pretty darn well. You have your numpad in the base kit, you have all the accents you need, you have full UK ISO support in here. It even goes above and beyond that. I feel like this is a pretty epic base kit. Yeah, so pretty happy about that. There's also an extension kit, which I thought was kind of interesting. So this one, not only does it include an extra tab key, you get an extra 2U backspace, as well as quite a few other caps. You can really outfit 2 boards with these 2 kits very easily. Very easily.
Yeah. Especially if you use some of the accent keys on one board and you don't on the other and things like that. You can absolutely outfit 2 boards with this. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a must-buy for me. I'm totally sold on this. Very, very happy with the way Lightning is approaching it. I think he's doing a fantastic job. I'm definitely in for a base kit, and sign me up for the extension kit as well. Another 1.5 sets fills 2 boards kind of scenario. I love seeing that, and glad to see all the accents with it as well. This looks lovely.
Yeah, row 5 alone just makes this worth buying. It'd be really nice to see row 0 in there as well for the F row. That'd be kind of really interesting to see. But I can see why it's not been done. It's not quite as popular. And it is a significant departure to row 1 as well. It's significantly taller, so but either way, this is definitely a must buy. That base kit is just it's a work of art to get a base kit that well refined, I think. So well done to Lightning.
Yeah. So I did misspeak a little bit. Someone was pointing out in chat that I said that you could cover 2 boards with like 1.5 sets basically, but since there are no extra alphas, you would have to subsidize with other alphas in that scenario. But because of the extension kit, it does allow you to get more creative with potentially using a second board, though. So I do still like seeing that, and decent amount of compatibility. And also, I totally forgot to mention this.
Shots, right? Get the alphas from a set of OG double shots and use the modifiers from this. That'd be a really nice look.
Sure, yeah. There's the possibilities are almost endless. And speaking of possibilities, since I forgot to mention it, the OG space keys, which has ran through Heine Bush before, is being reran alongside this set. Both are slated for August of this year. So that way, if you want to, get some OG space keys rather that match the Dolch colorway or others, you can hop in on that as well. And you can kind of get both, and you can outfit some of the more obscure, smaller boards potentially. So love seeing that as well. Yeah, really, really happy this is going on. Man, I really do hope it ends up being Icon Mod though. I really want Icon Mod Dolch. Please vote.
I don't know. I like the text and icon is kind of.
I mean, it is very traditional, and I'm gonna buy it either way. It looks good either way, but I think we need some more icon Dolch in the wild. I don't think there's nearly enough of it. But hey, that's just me. But it looks like this is going to be coming pretty darn soon, guys. And it looks like these are going to be your proxies. Not all of them done yet, but Project Keyboard, Oblatsky, and Manake all slated to be vendors for this set, guys. So there you go. Let's go ahead and move on to something else that I think is going to make people quite happy. This is by Younglad, and this is the interest check for GMK Modern Dolch 2. So, finally getting a rerun, I guess what is effectively a rerun, of Modern Dolch. And this should be pretty darn awesome, because obviously Modern Dolch has seen a lot of success in the past. It was you know, people were very happy with it on the last run, and I think it's now time for a rerun, and they agree.
It's a really nice set. I like my original round of Modern Dolch. You know, it is nice, and it does pay homage to that classic colorway. I mean, we just looked at it, literally just looked at it. But you can see there's a stark difference here in how the kits are made up. You know, I think the
kits
base
are pretty
hardcore. With this is kind of all encompassing and does a lot. This is very, very restricted, very, very bare bones, and you can see that there's a very different approach in terms of how the kitting's gone on here. Sure. What do you think, Ryan? Which kind of version do you prefer? Do you prefer the kind of all-inclusive base kits, or do you prefer a really stripped-back base kit like this?
I mean, I'd be lying if I said it's something I think about a lot, but I mean, personally, for me, I'm a pretty bare-bones user. I don't use a lot of exotic layouts. The base kit on this would support every board I'd want to put this on. So for me, that's fine. I like the reduced base kit approach because I can pay, like, you know, $100 for a set. This will probably be based around 1,000 MOQ. It'll probably be, you know, $100 to $110. It'll probably meet that MOQ. And I'm happy because I get to save, you know, $10, $20, $30, $40, and I don't have a bag full of 100 keys sitting in my drawer that I'm not going to use. Obviously, I know that's not everyone. So that's just my personal feeling on it. But, you know, if the all-inclusive base kit, you know, is better for the community at large, I would rather switch over to something like that. But, you know, Dixie Mech, you know, he kind of goes back and forth depending on the set that he runs, and I think that he does a pretty good job figuring out what he needs to be doing when he runs the sets, and I think that if this is the way that they run it, I think it's totally fine.
Yeah, I think he said in Discord the other day when someone asked him a similar question, he said that he will never split the numpad and basic support for other layouts from the base kit unless he's confident it'll sell more than 1,000 units.
Yeah.
Because at that point, then, you know, the economies of scale come into force for it. So it's an interesting take on it. You know, there's no right or wrong with this. Different vendors are going to do different things. I just think it's interesting to call out where things are different. But in terms of the rest of the kits, there are a lot of kits for this, and that is the other thing.
A lot of kits.
It does bring out. It means that you need more kits to be able to add back in that compatibility for other people to be able to use. So as well as the base kit, the standard kit, there is the additions kit, which gives you, amongst other things, F13, UK ISO, some stepped control keys, and some also alternative bottom row keys as well. Also gives you some additional 65% functionality with page up and page down on row 3 and row 4 respectively. There's also the numbers kit, which gives you a standard numpad with some additional extra accent keys and all of the different compatibility you need for that. There's an obscure kit as well, which gives you split spacebar support, some 40% support, and the Alice B key as well. And finally, there's the aesthetic pack, which kind of rounds out the kind of standard colorway here, which gives you multiple different spacebars in all of the accent colors, as well as some windowed keycaps as well, which I really love windowed caps. I don't think we see them often enough in these group buys. As well as that, there is kind of some more monochrome kits here as well that bring back the alternate kits. So this is to change your F-row to a kind of monochrome look and feel, and also gives a kind of light grey accent to your enters and your escape keys as well. It also adds in a Dixie X too. There's also the command kit, which is for Mac users, so it gives you all the options, command, and everything else that you'll need to make the layout match for an Apple keyboard. There's the modern kit, which gives you those kind of icon bottom row keys as well, personally not a fan of those, but I can see why people do like them. I do actually really like the Mac key on there with the command logo as well. That's kind of nice, as well as giving you some new accented escape keys with those kind of icon legends on. There's also a Norda kit, which gives you pretty much compatibility for most European languages, or the popular ones anyway. German, Swedish, Danish, and a few others as well in there, looking at it really quickly. And then finally, there is the Clout kit, which changes things up a little bit. It's kind of a replica of the base kit, but it changes the legends from being the standard white legends to being the cyan color as well. So it kind of reminds me a lot of Sky Dolch and sets like that. But it's called the Clout kit, a standalone base kit.
Yeah, I thought this was kind of interesting. This is definitely the more out of left field feature of this particular run of the key set. And I opened up both the base kit and the Clout kit just so you guys could see on stream back to back. This is the base kit, this is the Clout kit, this is the base kit, this is the Clout kit. So the differences here primarily are going to be your red accents are removed, and they are replaced with an F13 key and the darker legends on the accent keys that remain. So depending on who you are, that could be a better kit for you. But does this seem like a really big deal to you, Jay? This seems kind of odd to me. I don't taking away 2 keys to add a key. There's only like a 1 key delta there a lot of the times. Like what's the real reasoning for doing this as opposed to just, let's say, adding the F13 into the base kit?
I think it's more just to keep the secondary set clean. It's very much a secondary set. A couple of years ago, that would have been run as a separate kit at some point, as a whole set on its own. It does remind me of Sky Dolch, Sky Modo, whatever you want to call it. It kind of feels like it's hitting that kind of theme. It's almost kind of Sky Dolch Modern or Modern Sky Dolch, depending on which way you want to look at it. So I'm not quite sure whether they've chosen the Clout name, but it's kind of interesting the way that they're doing it. But I think that removing the red accents is the right call for that, because it wouldn't fit with the theme. Changing up some of the keycaps makes complete sense to try and bring the price for that particular kit to be almost the same. I'll be really interested to see if both of those kits are priced the same. If the Clout kit gets the same as the Modern Dolch kit as well, if they're priced both 1,000 units or similar, really interesting. It kind of does suck that if anyone wants the Clout kit, they can't have ISO coverage or numpad coverage or anything else. It literally is only for ANSI users up to TKL, but it does have good support for anything below that. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, there you go, guys. Obviously, as you can probably guess, it's going to be on Dixie Mech, as well as a couple other proxies listed there. ILMKB, My Keyboard, and Daily Clack, respectively. And of course, there's some nice renders. I actually really like the what are they calling them? Like these modern icons, the modern kit.
Mm-hmm.
I really like those. I got to be honest. It's very, very fun. All right, so there you go. Modern Dolch, guys. Modern Dolch 2. It's coming back. Be prepared. It's launching June 3rd, so just a couple more weeks, guys.
Mm.
All right. Speaking of something some people have been waiting for, absolutely, is Hammerworks CRP Round 3. So this just opened up and launched just a few days ago, and this is something I know I've been waiting for as well.
Yeah.
As well as some others. I know you can like get them off Taobao as well if you're a little bit better at that, but I'm terrible at that, so this is the route that I have to take. And full disclaimer, I have already ordered a set of this. But yeah, so this is CRP Round 3. No, I bet we didn't. I guarantee we didn't, actually. I guarantee we didn't, Jay. But anyways, so this is kind of interesting. This is going to be launching with a few different varieties. There's going to be the 2551 HAD version, which is this version right here, which I'll show more off in just a moment. There's going to be a black Desco version, which I imagine is going to be probably the more popular version. Yeah. There is what really caught my eye is this black pink Japanese version, and this is actually the one I went with because it's much cheaper and it'll still support the layouts that I want. But, so yeah, you get to see something a little bit new from CRP there with the kind of a weeb set, I guess some people might call it. And there's also the Xerox 6001 Russia version, which I believe is also another one of the $65 kits, as opposed to the $100 ones. And, yeah, so how do you feel about this?
So let's go through them one by one. For those
Okay.
that don't know, the HAD set, the HAD set, that's based off of the old Cherry keyboards, where you had the key codes. So H stood for double shot keycaps, A was the type of switch, and D was for the language. So D stands for DE, which is Germany in this kind of sense, which is why it's a QWERTZ layout rather than a QWERTY layout. So this is very much based off of the old German double shot keycap sets, historically, that we've seen on Cherry boards. But it has significant extended compatibility, along with some of the great German legends like Druck and Wallen and all of those kinds of things as well, plus ISO support, which is really nice to see. This is the first time we've seen from CRP an ISO keycap set. I'm hoping this sells well based on that particular German heritage, because the more it sells, the more likely they are to bring ISO back for some of the other kits. But I think this is looking particularly good. This is one of the ones that I picked up already because I think it looks really, really nice, and it will fit very much into a lot of the keycap sets I've got. Sticking over to the next one, we've got the Desco Black, which is based on all of the traditional Desco boards. These have got some really nice front legends. It's really difficult to see in some pictures, but do go and check them out because they've got some really nice front printed legends, which work really well. Based off the old Desco boards, really classic set. I think I've got an old Desco board somewhere that's got the brown sub legends on. Yeah, classic set, but a very limited compatibility. But I can see why people absolutely want to pick this up. The Japanese Blackpink, this is the one that I dislike the most, Brian. So I can see why.
I would totally understand why you would dislike this the most.
It's not for me, but I can see why it's really cute. I do like the Sakura keys, the kind of flower keys. They're really nice. Compatibility is basic, but it's okay. You can fit out most boards. If you need to, you can just about get away with 65% if you create it with some of the keys.
This is my kind of compatibility, seeing as how my entire collection is almost entirely 60% or TKL.
Yeah, I mean,
so for me, this really works. But yeah, this is obviously it's very limited compatibility. I mean, certainly not going to argue that. I just wanted to see something different. I mean, this is obviously a little bit more modern than a lot of the other things that CRP have been doing. They've been doing, obviously, a lot of the Desco stuff, the Tulip stuff, things like that. It's a little bit more vintage, kind of, in a way. And, it's usually on the beige and stuff. Like, I wanted something a little bit different. I wanted to see what else CRP can accomplish. So I think, the different colors and different styles should potentially come out pretty well. But it's also only $65, and I'm more interested in a $65 set than I am a $100 set most of the time.
It's a good price. And then the final set is the Xerox 6001 Russian set. So this is based on some of the old Xerox boards that were around a long time ago. This set is quite possibly the best set of the lot in my eyes. I love the legends on this. I love the sub legends. I love the tertiary legends. I don't think there's a bad key in this at all. I think this is a really good set. I've already bought this as well because even if I can't outfit it with ISO, I can use those alphas and put them with an ISO and figure out how to get it to work somewhere. The fun key will cover at least one of the ISO keys that I need, and the additional A and O keys, I'll figure out something. I will make it fit on a board because this is so nice. It would be a waste not to use it. Some of these sub legends, this is where we often buy these vintage boards, and I often buy these vintage boards because for these old keys that have got these amazing sub legends. So it's really, really nice to see that come back. I would love to see this run with more extended compatibility because I genuinely love the way this looks. So yeah, this is my cup of tea. I mean, I'm using a board with non-standard legends right now. I've got the old Triumph Adler keycaps here from the actual typewriter, which is a QWERTZ layout, and it's got all the sub legends on. I love that kind of thing. I'm a real sucker for this kind of stuff. So yeah, I think this is the nicest set of the lot, and I just wish it had the compatibility with the headset.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see. I think Drop have said that they are planning another run in the near future that is going to feature some compatibility kits as well as some of the Tulip stuff. So on that run, we might get some more, but this is what we have so far, and I think it certainly could be worse. I'm not totally unhappy with these offerings, and like I did say, I picked up the Blackpink Japanese set already. I had considered picking up the others as well. I think all of them look pretty well, and they're priced fairly competitively, all things considered. So I'm looking forward to this. I have owned a CRP set before, but I owned one of the round 1 or round 2 sets, so it had A lot of issues with the stems not being quite tight enough to actually grip onto the switch cruciform.
Sure.
So you know, I had a lot of caps that just flew off, like literally would like fly off during normal typing, and obviously that's pretty unfortunate. So I'm really hoping that the round 3 and /2.2 molds do really work out, and we get a really nice product here, because CRP has really high potential.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're good quality keycaps. I mean, I think my order for the HAD and the Xerox, I think it came to $145, which is less than what I spend on the average GMK keycaps at this time around. And I've got, you know, a really nice, good compatibility set for an ISO user, as well as some really cool sub-legends for, you know, maybe a HHKB or a 60% or something that I have to use as ANSI. So, you know, I think it's great.
Yeah, I have no problem with this. I mean, I already bought a set. So there you go, guys. That's going on until the end of the month, I believe. Or a few more days. 11 more days. There you go, guys. So if you guys wanted to get in on that, you got 11 days left. And know that the Tulip and potentially some other kits as well are coming soon. So there you go, guys. Let's go ahead and move over to something that isn't completely new, but we did actually completely forget to cover it on the show. Sometimes we forget to cover things, and also we don't claim to cover everything anymore anyways, because it's just not really possible anymore these days. So let's just but this is something that we definitely should have covered, and it's weird because I almost feel like we did cover it. Like it feels like we should have. I don't know. But yeah, cat hyperfuse, guys. Hyperfuse origins, nonetheless. So we've seen hyperfuse in just about every other profile and such. So now it's finally made its way over to cat, courtesy of J Saints here, and I think it looks nice. I think it looks quite nice as far as cat goes, as far as hyperfuse goes, rather. I think Origins is probably the strongest out of the hyperfuse lineup, in my opinion. I think the colors work the best, particularly on that kind of
colorway, isn't it? That's the thing. This is the OG hyperfuse colorway.
True. Yeah. So I like that. I like that quite a bit.
DCS or DSA first? I can't remember which one came first, but either way, this harkens back to the old SP color chips that it was originally taken from. So what most people think is the first run of hyperfuse was a GMK hyperfuse that we talked about last week. That absolutely wasn't. There was sets that ran before it in hyperfuse, and the color was very different, and it was changed to GMK stock colors for the hyperfuse that most people love. So this takes it back to the original set, which did run in GMK a couple of years later. But the kind of hyperfuse origin story is kind of long, and I think there's like 11, 12, maybe 13 hyperfuse sets nowadays, so it's difficult to cover all of them off.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that in mind, I mean, there's not really a whole lot to say about this set, honestly, just because it's hyperfuse. We've had hyperfuse for a while now. This page is but exactly, it is cat. So to me, at least, it's automatically more interesting. This is probably my favorite iteration of hyperfuse so far. I do like the way all of them look. Well, not all of them, I guess. I like the way. I guess I shouldn't say that, because some of them do look pretty bad. But I like the way a lot of them look, and I do think that the Origins is the best of the bunch. And I love cat profiles, so hey, I mean, like, I can't really hate on it. I like it. And in true cat format here, I'm not going to scroll through them all, but you kind of watched me do it earlier. There's about a bazillion kits, just because of the way cat works with MOQ. Makes it very easy to just have a truly immense amount of kits. So if you want something covered, chances are you're going to be okay. And interestingly enough, they have these kind of this new ancient alphas. That's kind of the new thing here, which I'm not entirely sure how I feel about. I think I like the more traditional look on hyperfuse.
Yeah, I don't like the ancient alphas. I do kind of like some of the novelties as well. Some of the novelties in there are quite interesting, especially ones for the capsock. It's a stepped capsock novelty as well, which is really interesting.
That's pretty uncommon. That's really cool, yeah. Huh.
It's almost like a wormhole type thing. The black hole ones are really cool as well. The where you see the circle with the line on a diagonal. That's supposed to be a rendition of a black hole, and it's kind of interesting. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to dislike. I mean, there's something for everyone in here, I feel like, as long as you're okay with the hyperfuse colorway and cat profile. So yeah, that's coming soon, guys. Hyperfuse finally reaching the. Do you think it's going to be in cam profile next, or what profile do you think it's going to come to after cat?
I don't know. I don't know.
Do you think Infinity hyperfuse will ever happen?
Well, that's just cherry profile, right?
Well,
So
true, but I mean,
PBT
I'm just
profile.
curious what the next hyperfuse is that we're gonna see. At this point, it's almost like a game.
CRP hyperfuse. There we go. That's what.
CRP, all right.
Mhm.
MT3, Jaguar says in chat. Interesting.
So that was already touted before. So someone did talk about doing MT3 hyperfuse before. That was. I don't think it was a formal interest check, but I do remember people speaking about it. So I don't know if that's
Interesting.
died or if it's going to happen or what.
Yeah. I don't know.
MD8,
Well,
yeah, maybe.
G20. Oh, could you imagine a G20 hyperfuse?
I would not be interested in that. That's one keycap profile that would
But
turn
like,
me off.
you'd pay for the group buy, and it would ship like 3 weeks later.
Sure.
And it would probably be like $40.
Yeah.
I should start running G20 sets. I think someone needs to.
Good luck hitting the MOQ of 10 with G20.
Yeah, I'll consistently get like 4 orders. Anyways, if you like Cat and you like Hyperfuse, then here you go. This is coming in the near future, guys. Let's go ahead and move over to. I'm gonna attempt this name. I'm gonna try it, Jay. This is the interest check for GMK Trüffelschwein.
Trüffelschwein, yeah.
Trüffelschwein. Am I close? Am I totally out of?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm assuming that I'm right on this as well. So
I'm assuming you are as well. You're very worldly, Jay. I always assume that you know more.
I usually check my German pronunciation with people like Querdenker and Egler before I say it, but I didn't on this one. But Trüffelschwein is where I think of it.
Trüffelschwein. Anyways,
No,
so the
Schwein is almost like a V sound. Schwein.
All right. Anyways, let's talk about the actual set, Jay. As you could tell from this honestly rather adorable kind of art image here, it's kind of reminiscent of truffle-seeking pigs, effectively. So the original inspiration, it came from a Himalayan truffle salt that he's using while cooking, and so on and so forth. And he decided to go with a German name to pay homage to GMK. So that's why it's German. Yeah, fair enough. Absolutely. So.
Well, that base color is a blue, not a black, guys. As well, that is a blue, not a black.
Yes, which certainly fooled me until you corrected me before the show, because well, you guys know I have terrible eyes. So yeah, so you get kind of a what is effectively like a super dark blue and pink affair here, with some white accents. It seems like.
Yeah. RAL 5004 is actually called Schwarz Blue, so. Yeah, another German word that I probably butchered the pronunciation of. Okay, we'll go with it.
Yeah, I only speak English fluently. I don't claim to speak anything else fluently, so always apologize for that.
Right?
I don't even speak English fluently. Let's be honest here. So let's take a look at the base kit here. Color preference aside, obviously, I'm not completely sold on the colors, but let's take a look at the base kit here because it does seem quite full. You get a lot of accents here. You get the numpad, you get all of your usual suspects, 65, 75, HHKB, etc., etc. Quite a few accents, including arrow keys there. Some basic ISO support there. Love seeing that. They didn't even duplicate the row 3 cap. Love seeing that. And, yeah, I mean, what do you think about this? It looks like a fairly well put together base kit.
I think it's fine. I mean, there's a couple of key sets that jumps out. I mean, first and foremost, it looks like Olivia plus the Dark Alphas version because it looks black when you look at it in these renders. That colour's really a blue, so it kind of gives that kind of vibe off initially. It all reminds me, and then if you consider it's a pink, it also a pink and blue set, a dark blue set. It also reminds me of pink on navy, but that's a very different pink. So this is the kind of softer, more pastel-y type of orangey pink, whereas it's much more vibrant, bright pink in the pink on navy. So I think it does okay at standing out on its own.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, the more I think about it, the more that's fine. I think the alternate mods kit looks really nice as well. I have no problems with that. It's a big kit though for an alternate mods kit. There is a lot of choice now. There's a lot of keycaps. That's a big kit for an alternate mods kit. So be interested to see how that's priced. Interesting choice to go with the Pantone for the pink. There are some RALs out there that could be quite similar and quite warm as well. So I would recommend that they looked at that as well. But yeah, it looks okay. I think it'll do really well. I kind of like it. The more I look at this, the more I like it. I'm really digging sets that have lighter modifiers and alphas lately. I've said this a couple of
Yeah.
times recently. It's kind of getting towards me, and I kind of like it. And who doesn't want a truffle pig in their life, right?
I like truffle. I also love pigs. So
Yeah, truffle and pigs together, even better, right?
yeah, what could go wrong? I mean, jokes aside, I think it's a fine looking set. I'm not totally in love with it. I'll probably pass on it if I'm being honest, but I think it looks fine. It'll probably sell fairly well. It seems structured well enough. We don't really have a whole lot of information. There's still a lot of things to come. It does say there's some novelties and artisans in the work, and he does kind of have a reference image of what you might be able to expect from some of the novelties potentially. I don't know how amazing a truffle novelty is gonna look. If I'm being totally honest, like let's be real. Well, truffle look and smell delicious, and like they're essential for this kind of new age hot cuisine. They don't look very pretty, Jay. I got to be totally honest.
No, they don't.
It's not the most attractive thing. It's just an underground thing that gets dug up. So, but they're delicious.
They've stopped using pigs to find the truffles. So historically, they did use the pigs to find the truffles, but the risk is that as soon as a pig finds a truffle, it eats it. So they actually use dogs now to find the truffles because you can train a dog to not eat it and just to dig it up so you can go pick it up. So I don't think there's very many people that still use pigs to find truffles these days. But hey, it is historically accurate.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there you go, guys. That could be totally for you if you're a fan of truffles. I gotta be honest, I'm dying to see these truffle novelties because I don't want to be mean, but like
I'm not sure
how could they look good? Like how could anyone make a truffle novelty look good? Actually, wait, no. If you make the novel instead of having the novelty be like this, where it just shows like a whole truffle, maybe like a few shavings of truffle, like a few consistent like three shavings.
You could even have like a little grater and like a truffle hitting the grater and little bits falling.
Exactly. I don't. That might get too intricate. I don't know what you can do. Obviously, a GMK keycap isn't a very large canvas, and you can't get super into detail because double shot. But it'd be interesting to see what they come up with here because I think the novelties could be very high risk, high reward. Yeah. Can the guy on the bottom be a bit louder? Has Jay been a little quieter? I'm sorry. I don't know.
Bring my mic closer.
I've been browsing chat. This is the first time I think I've seen someone today bring it up, but I could be wrong. I just turned you up a little bit, so hopefully that helps. Sorry, guys.
How's this, folks? Is that better? Is this clearer? Is this louder?
Those are some lovely dulcet tones, Jay.
I'll bring my mic really close and I'll just whisper into the mic. And we'll see how Source likes my voice like this.
All right. Hattie Potter says ASMR top left.
No ASMR.
You guys don't get that lucky.
They want to be lucky.
They want to be that lucky. Anyways, guys, so that's GMK Trüffelschwein.
Tasty.
The guy on the bottom.
Guy on the bottom. Yeah, but there's no name tag.
I know. It's true. It's not invalid, right? Someone new to the stream has no idea who we are. That's totally fine.
Yeah. So I'm Brian, and that's Jay.
It's. Don't worry. It's probably better if you don't know who we are. It'll probably be way better that way. Anyways, guys, if this is your thing, look forward to the future in that. And that's actually going to round out our news doc for today. So we're going to take a quick moment here to talk about our sponsors while we kind of queue up for the Q&A that we round our show out every week with. So if you guys have questions, now is the time to ask them. Make sure you use the @TopClack tag in the Twitch chat so we can see them. If you don't use that tag, we probably won't be able to pick it out of chat as easily, and it might just kind of fall to the wayside. So if you guys have questions, whether they're about keyboards or otherwise, and they're safe for the stream, feel free to start asking those right now, and we will get to them momentarily as we talk about our delightful sponsors, Jay. So starting us off this week, as usual, we have the lovely Novel Keys, who has numerous things going on, which has been kind of the norm for them lately. They have JTK Zen going on still, if you're a fan of the slightly less expensive double shot stuff there and that kind of colorway. You also have a GMK Classic Blue group buy still going on right now. So if you're a fan of GMK and you want something simple and blue, this is definitely the one I recommend. Pretty darn nice base kit, priced quite well as well. And there's also a blue base kit too. So if you're a fan of the monochrome approach, that's a pretty darn nice one. They also are still running Cat Arctic. That's I think it's going to be ending relatively soon, if I believe. But, yeah, towards the end of this month. But the Cat Arctic group buy is still open right now. This is one of the nicer looking cat sets as far as I'm concerned. I think Mekanisk did a really good job on that, and you should definitely check it out if you're in for some cat sets. If key sets aren't really your thing, well, he's got you covered for pretty much everything else. Whether you want a switch puller, whether you want some desk mats, whether you want some lube, whether you want some plushies, switches, stabilizers, even wrist rests sometimes, he's got you covered. He's pretty much a one-stop shop these days. And if you're buying anything in stock, make sure you use the promo code CLICKCLACK, one word. It'll get you 5% off your total order there for the in-stock product, guys. So make sure to put that code to use.
Yeah, moving on to our second sponsor of today, it is the Kono.store. So the guys over there, they now completed their warehouse move, but they are doing free US domestic shipping, guys. So if you do get an order in now, it might take a couple of days extra to ship, but when they do ship, they are giving you free US domestic shipping. In terms of things that you can pre-order from the site, they do have most pre-orders open for all of the key sets that they've run over the past few months. So if you missed out on GMK Hero, GMK Copper, Cat Oasis, or any of those other key sets, you can join the pre-order for group buy pricing as well now. Failing that, they also have the Keystone keyboard coming soon. So I know we've been looking forward to this for a while. Both Brian and I have been looking forward to the Keystone keyboard, just based on what the switches are supposed to feel like. That is coming soon, so do check out on that. It's something to definitely keep your eye on. But if you're looking for a keyboard right now, you might want to consider the Hex Gears Gemini X1 and Venture. They are in stock and they're shipping pretty much available immediately. They're super low profile wireless mechanical keyboards, great for working from home, great for moving around on the travel, great to introduce someone to the hobby with as well. So guys, if you do want to consider any of those, please do take a look at those and see if it's something that will fit into your work plan.
Yes. Next up, we have the wonderful KBDfans, who has a few things going on right now, and I think I'm actually on the wrong page. But they have the group buy for Enjoy PBT X Gawk, Kuroshiro, which is coming back very, very soon. And actually, I think it's open now, right? Yeah, it is open now.
It's open now, yeah.
That's open now. Really, really successful set from last time. A lot of people loved it. Very, very simple. Quite a nice price as well. So that's going on right now, guys, if you're in on that. There's also something that recently popped up too. So this is the Vulcan X KBDfans Maja. So this is the updated. I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce it. The Maja Pahit, I believe is how the original one. But yeah, so that's coming soon, guys. That just went up pretty darn recently. So you know, barring that, there's still lots of other things going on now too. So if you're in the market for, let's say, I don't know, like a cat set that's actually in stock, they definitely have you covered here, as well as lots of different switches, lots of inexpensive keycaps, lots of custom Topra keycaps even, and lots of things always coming soon as well. So always keep your eyes open there, and you know, it never hurts to take a look at the B stock market as well, because every now and then they have some cool things in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving over to our final sponsor of the night, it is Mekanisk, so the store run by Leandrin. At the moment, they've not got much in stock, but you can pre-order some of the new ultramarine keyboard stabilizers. These are Duroc screw-in stabilizers in a really, really nice ultramarine colorway. It's a really nice color. I've already bought a couple of sets of these because I want to try them out. If that's not your kind of thing, you can pick up a PCB from here as well, the WT60D PCB, which has flex cut, supports ANSI and ISO layouts, multiple bottom row options, really solid PCB. Both Brian and I have used them and big fans of them. And of course, you can pick up the dampening foam for inside your case. The big news, however, is that the tinned is now on the horizon. It's coming soon, folks. There is a release paper up there as well that you can read through that talks about all of the tinned details, and that boards are coming really rather soon. We're really excited to try it out. We can't wait for this to turn up. Hopefully we'll get access to a prototype or two build.
I hope so, man.
Yeah, we're both really excited for it. So there we go.
This has got to be like the big keyboard that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, yeah. Just going back to the stabilizers as well. If you have bought one of the Type X's or the Clippers, you can add those to your order, so you won't have to pay the shipping rates from the store, but you can add it to an existing order as well. So if you're one of the, I think nearly 1,000 people bought those boards. So if you bought one of those boards, you can just quite easily go and add the stabilizers onto there and get them shipped with your order.
Yeah, I also love how the WT60D. I mean, this is like less sponsor stuff at this point, more just me ranting. But I kind of like the color of the WT60D alongside the ultramarine stabilizers.
It's a nice color.
It's almost like that was thought out. Very nice, very nice. All right,
Maybe
guys. Well, while I go ahead and wait for my my Duroc ultramarine stabilizers, and I have dreams about the tin, let's go ahead and answer some questions from the Twitch chat, guys.
Some keyboard questions, yeah. So what's first up today? I think it was Pluto, wasn't it? So how many cuts and nicks did you guys get while shaving? 0. I didn't cut myself once. I'm pretty okay with the razor. I didn't cut myself at all.
Yeah, I don't think I have any cuts and nicks either. But that's because, admittedly, I didn't use a straight razor of any kind. I actually just used an electric shaver.
Oh, really?
I'm late. I'm really lazy guy. I just went on and I got like a $40 one from Amazon, one that was like, you know, meant for being a close shave. It's not like the highest end product by any stretch of the imagination, because I'm not planning on shaving this much in the near future. This was obviously just for this kind of charity event, so the incentives. So yeah, I actually didn't really cut myself, thankfully, but that's only because I kind of cheaped out and I used an electric shaver as opposed to a straight razor. But I still got a very clean shave. It's still much smoother than I was expecting.
Looks nice. Looks good.
No, it doesn't look nice, but that's a topic for another time. That's a topic for another time. Anyways, guys, Jaguar, or I'm gonna say Jaguar. I'll be British for that.
Jaguar.
Jaguar. Yeah. Is asking, what key innovation do you hope to see from GMK in the future? Kind of crazy that Redacted is actually happening and makes you question the future. Sort of, yeah. I mean, Redacted's a really cool idea, but
it's core functionality though. It's just pad printed.
It's just pad printed. Yeah, that's
cool. I mean, I've got some pad printed keycaps here. The tertiary legends on here, they're pad printed. You know, I mean, we haven't seen it before. It's just that it's been done in a new way. So. Yeah, I mean, it's a really intriguing way of doing things, and I think we can see more of it. I want to see the return of windowed keycaps, though, because GMK can do like windowed keycaps. I don't have one to hand, but like you can get a window on the stepped caps lock that just sits here, and that is actually the double shot of the keycap. So they actually shoot the window as the double shot of the insert, and then they pad print the legends. I think we could see something like that maybe for the legends.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way Dixie is using the pad printing is really clever. I mean, obviously,
it's clever. Yeah,
it's very clever. Like, it's obviously very clever, but like, it's still just pad printing. Like, it's not like it's new technology. This is
exactly.
You know, we've been doing this for decades, so this is certainly nothing new. But he is using it in a cool way. I will certainly admit that. But yeah, exactly. Like that's we have access to a lot of things, and this is, if you guys caught the fantastic episode I did with Andy Living Speed Bump over at GMK, the interview I did with him a few weeks back. We talked a little bit about this and about how we can expect a catalog with what GMK is capable of moving forward, and that's really cool because then instead of just people guessing like, oh, does GMK have this, and like having to ask, like you'll just have a list of what everything GMK is capable of can do, and that way people can just, you know, right from the get-go, they can get a lot more creative with it, and we're going to see a lot more things because of that. We're going to see a lot of things that GMK has that we haven't really seen before, because their catalog is, I think, a lot larger than most people realize.
Yeah, I think they've got a ton of legends that people don't even realize that they've got. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how to pronounce this. Mauims is asking thoughts on the heavy metal keyboards group buy. Do you think the sound issues are fixed? So he's referring to obviously what is formerly known as the SKB keyboards. They have been renamed to heavy metal keyboards. Very kind of I mean, it's been around for a few years now.
They still sound fairly hollow. I don't think there's much you can do to fix that because they are really hollow boards. You can fill it up with them as much foam as you like, but you know it's still that design. So but some people like that sound profile.
Yeah, and I mean the trade-off is that, you get a very unique-looking keyboard. It's relatively easy to make because it's just bent metal at that point, and you get a really affordable price. And I think that's the attractiveness of those keyboards. And if you don't like the sound, then maybe it's just not for you. It's not. I don't think it's intended to necessarily be like an amazingly good-sounding keyboard. And also, sound is partly preference as well. So some people might like the sound of it.
Absolutely.
Melodit is asking, how does CRP compare to Enjoy PBT? Great question, and to be totally honest, I don't think I've ever actually done like a full side-by-side comparison. However, I have used both of them, extensively enough, I would say, and I think that CRP and Enjoy PBT are somewhat close. Enjoy PBT, I think, has gotten quite a bit better over the last several years, but I think they're relatively comparable, but CRP might be a little bit better. Obviously, though, CRP previously to the 2.2 and round 3 runs had issues with the stems, though, whereas Enjoy PBT, maybe a little bit more established and maybe fewer issues because of that. But I think moving forward, I think CRP probably is the more premium option going into the future.
I completely agree. I think that's exactly what we'll see, especially as they start to branch out and start to offer more keycap compatibility as well.
Yeah. All right. Sorry, guys, just scrolling through some questions. Not a whole lot of questions here, actually, so we'll get through this pretty darn quickly, guys.
I love Chiletas has come with a question saying, "What any personal takes on the new Mini 1800s, Clarabelle versus the Elongate?" I like both. I think both have a place in my workflow. Clarabelle, absolutely, to have that southpaw numpad and to sit on my main desk and stuff in the office, be great for inputting data into spreadsheets, doing the books and things like that. And the Elongate looks like the perfect travel board, especially in PC. We are going to do a build stream. I was talking to Mr. Keeps during the show, and I asked him if we could do a build stream. He said yes. I'm really excited to try that out. I think it'd be
he's way too nice. Good question though. I think both the Elongate and the Clarabelle both look pretty nice. Aesthetically, I think I gotta prefer the Elongate. I think it looks a little bit more premium, just a little bit nicer for me. I like the design choices, particularly with the split spacebar blocker with the indicator LEDs there. That's a really cool feature to me. So for me, that really helps to kind of put it over the top, along with the just my preferred aesthetic preference, I guess. However, I think I prefer the layout of the Clarabelle, just because I do like that left-handed kind of compatibility. I like having more space on the right side of my keyboard for my mouse. When I play games, I swing my arm around, so having any extra space there is preferential for me. So I prefer the layout of the Clarabelle, but I prefer the aesthetic of the Elongate. But I think both are probably going to be pretty successful boards in their own right.
Yeah, I think they both do just fine. Yeah.
Absolutely.
159, thank you very much for that 17 months of subsidy to say that naked face. I think he's referring to you, Brian.
Don't look at me. I'm just going to cover my face for the rest of the stream. Oh, you know what? You know what would have been big brain is if I would have just worn like a mask. I clean shave, but then I just wear a mask. How bad?
My wife suggested that. She said, "Why don't you just put the mask on that you wear when you go to the shops?" And I was like, because they'll know. They'll see it peeking out the sides, and it'll be fully grown next week. And I was like, they'll know. So I had to shave it off.
Yeah, you guys get to come on the journey with me to see how far my beard grows over the weeks. So I shaved today, just a few hours ago. So we'll be able to see what it's like in exactly a week on next week's episode. So that'll be kind of interesting. But yes, thank you so much to 159 for that tier 1 sub, my friend. Young Wowdy is asking, can you talk about what switches pair the best with what plate materials? Sort of, but that's going to be a lot of preference, so it's kind of a gray area. I am not going to claim there are particular combinations that are the end-all be-all or that are just better than everything else, because I hate that kind of logic. It's counterintuitive to our community.
It's all subjective, and you could ask us on any given day. We'd probably give a different answer when we try something new out anyway. I think that kind of question is really well suited to the Discord to get a load of different interpretations of what people like.
Yeah.
Look at the Discord below. Maybe consider joining, asking that question there. I think generally I prefer a firmer plate for a tactile switch and a more flexible plate for a linear switch, but that has exceptions, and it all depends on the board, the sound profile, the plate material, the switch type, where the bump is, if it's tactile, what the spring weight is. There's so many different variables that take place into those kind of decisions. I think that the Discord is absolutely a bad place to discuss that. But we will be more than happy to help if you reach out to us on that.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, we could talk about our preferences, but that doesn't necessarily mean that'll translate to you or everyone else. I kind of agree with Jay. For tactiles, I tend to prefer like a soft gasket mount metal plate. And for linears, I tend to prefer just softer experiences overall with non-metal plates. But as far as, I don't get like too detailed with that. Like, I'm not the kind of guy that uses the same switch over and over again, which is why every one of my customs is a different configuration from the rest. So like I never really used like the same switch twice, and if I do it very differently, like a completely different environment. So I don't know. I'm all about the journey of variety versus on like what I settle as like the best or something per se.
Sure.
I think there's no discounting experience, and you'll never know what you like until you try it. And almost every keyboard design is different enough to warrant different feeling and different sounding experiences. And, like, for example, like, one switch is not going to sound the same, even if you lube it the same, across different boards. And because of that, it's too hard to nail down. And we could talk about it for hours, and sure, we can learn some things, but it's a little difficult of a question. That's
absolutely,
for sure.
Yeah.
Too Cute T to be straight is asking, Jay, what resolution did you come up with for the JO2 magnetic pen rail?
So interestingly, I do have the JO2. So this is the final production version of the board. This is the first one to roll off the production line, and I will be building this on stream on Sunday. So if anyone wants to see how the board goes together, what the changes are between the prototype and the final production run, I will be building this on stream on Sunday at the usual time, 8 p.m. UK, 3 p.m. EST, noon PST. And I will run through how the board now goes together, how it all sits together, how the production's going to run. There are some changes just from a practical standpoint, and I'll talk through all of those on stream because there's quite a few. Some really, really positive use of quality of life and user improvements, better gaskets, better mounting for the daughter boards and the PCBs. JST connectors on both ends of cables, all sorts of other things. But yeah, we'll talk through those on stream. I'll give a full rundown of the board, what the changes are, and how that'll impact people.
Nice. Very nice. All right. Pluto is asking, or saying, didn't think about this, but how do the significant others like the new look?
Oh, man. When I first shaved mine off, and it was completely... So I was as clean-shaven as Brian on Monday. My wife wouldn't even kiss me. She just wouldn't come near me. She didn't like it. And as soon as I could, I shaved the sides again to try and get a bit of growth here. So this is 4 days growth, and this is like a day's growth. But she just would not come anywhere near me. She just was really devastated. She was really upset. She was like, "Where's your beard gone? It was really nice. I liked your beard." Yeah, she was really, really upset. It wasn't.
My girlfriend hasn't seen it yet. I told her yesterday that I had to do it for charity. She was sad, but she understood. I know. As soon as she sees me in person, she's gonna be like, ugh. Which is fine. Like it'll grow back in a few weeks probably. Like it's not the end of the world, but
yeah,
it's interesting. It feels, I feel colder.
Yeah, really.
It's weird. Like, they feel, when you're, like, just so not used to, like, the wind, like, hitting your face there. Like, I have a window open now, so there's been a breeze today. Like, it just feels weird that, like, air hits it now. I don't know. It's certainly interesting. You guys were warned, though. I told you I was gonna look stupid if I should. This is why I don't clean shave, because I look like this. And nobody wants to look like this.
I just feel lost without it. I feel like part of me is missing. I feel like I've lost like a finger. That's kind of significant.
I was hoping, while I was shaving, I was just hoping, fingers crossed, that I had lost enough weight to get rid of my double chin, but alas, it is still here in full force. and yeah, that's why I've been trying to. I've been like trying to like cover it up like subtly, like just by holding my.
So I hear from the Instagram that you're supposed to like lean your chin out. That's what you're supposed to do to just tighten all this area up. So
Yeah. Maybe if I sit differently. Maybe if I just look like a turtle.
Yeah. Put the camera above us and look up to the camera. That's the way to do it. That's what we need to do.
That's big brain. Yeah, that's big brain. All right. 2QD says, "Thank you. Look forward to the stream. Fantastic." Young Woody is also asking, "Are mounting styles mostly preference, or are there pros/cons to each? Seems like most of the group buys and interest checks are top mount or some kind of gasket." Yeah, I would say there are certainly pros and cons to each, but I mean there is gonna be preference on like what you prefer as a typing style, of course, or typing experience rather. But top mount and gasket mount are what's popular right now. Top mount has been around for a very long time. It's kind of the tried and true method. It's nothing new. It's nothing interesting. But if you get a well-designed plate and a board that's well-designed that fits a well-designed top mount plate, like Heine's keyboards, for example, I think you can get a really, really exquisite product. But it's not necessarily like interesting. It's just really good. Gasket's been interesting because the year of the gasket was 2018. We kind of swapped over. We saw a lot of gaskets pop off around that time, and now it's becoming a little bit more normal. But people have been getting creative. They've been experimenting with it. We've seen lots of different methods of gasket mounting. From the more elaborate O-ring system, across the PCB plate assembly to just like the burger mount, which is just top mount with O-rings. We've seen pour on strips a la Keycap. You name it, we've pretty much seen it. The unicorn is pretty out there as well. Like it's just different. Like we've seen a lot of iterations, and I think it's awesome. People have been putting their own style, their own unique spin on it, and I think that's fantastic. And it should just continue in the community, and people should just have fun with it and just try to get as creative as they can, because you don't really know how good something is, or how bad it is, like until you try it. So
yeah, absolutely. I have nothing to add to that. You've said everything I was going to say.
Oh, I did something right. Fantastic.
I didn't say you did it right. I just.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm always wrong. I know this. So I'm getting used to it now, Jay. Melda is asking, "Do you feel naked?" When I had to shave mine off, I felt yes. Naked is a good way to put it. It just feels off. It feels abnormal. Chuletas is asking, when is that show off stream coming up, boys? I look forward to it. Oh yeah, we said we're gonna do a. Well, I mean, it's you know what.
5 boards, right?
You know what? I mean, obviously we need to do this, but you know what also needs to come back is mech trumps.
Yes,
because that's kind of the same thing, but it's like taken up a huge notch, and it's way more fun.
It is. It was really fun when we did it, and I don't really know why we didn't do a second episode. I actually had Nathan Kim booked to do a second episode, and then it kind of like we could never align the dates and times, and then it just didn't happen. Yeah, we should bring that back. We should definitely.
Yeah, I'm down. But I mean, yeah, we can schedule a time to do a little show and tell.
Yeah,
should we just do like a special stream where we just do that, and maybe bring on some other people for some show and tell? We could schedule that.
Maybe we should do exactly that. We should maybe do like a subathon or something like that if you guys want to support us, and we can bring on some guests to show off their favorite boards. Do like
we're really overdue. We're overdue for a subathon.
Yeah, that could be really good fun. What do you guys think in chat? Let us know in chat if you think that a subathon where we get people on, we share our boards, we talk about our top 5 boards, and we do other stuff as well. But that kind of be like the main thing. We'll get people on every couple of hours and do stuff. How would you guys feel about that? Would you guys like that?
Yeah,
would you guys support it?
That could be a thing. Yeah, people are saying yes, super fun, absolutely. Nice. Nebulant challenges me to top trumps or mech trumps. I mean, Nebulant will probably dominate me, but I'm game. Get me in, coach. Put me in.
Nice. We could run a couple of games of mech trumps on that stream as well. That'd be really fun. That could be a really fun stream, actually. Yeah, we should.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do that.
Subathon with mech trumps.
Subathon. When can we?
Top 5s.
When can we do a subathon? What day would be best for a subathon?
I feel like we should do it on like a Saturday or something like that.
Saturday
night. Yeah.
Okay.
Saturday night, something like that.
Okay, we'll put this together, guys. Subathon coming soon. It will involve kind of a keyboard show and tell / a mech trumps, top trumps kind of thing, because you guys really appreciated that last time. I know when I watched the replay with Jay, it was a really fun episode. And
it must be over a year ago now. Yeah, it was really good.
It wasn't quite that long ago, but it was Mr. Keebs, right? And
yeah, we had a great.
Who won? Mr. Keebs,
Mr.
right?
Keebs.
Oh, naturally.
Yeah, it was like he won like 4-1, so it looked like a whitewashing. But 3 of the rounds there was like 1 vote in it, so we were really really close, and he won like by 3 votes in total, which was crazy. Yeah. It was good fun. It was good fun. Max, Thank you very much for joining us with a party of 9. Thank you very much for the raid. We really appreciate that, dude. Welcome, folks, to Top Clack. You are catching us right at the tail end of our stream. We are about to finish shortly. Max, you need to pester Brian about your shirt because he isn't wearing it today, and he's supposed to be wearing it and make it all sweaty and ready for you to take ownership of it. So
I made a note of that earlier. I said that I had washed it, but I have not actually shipped it out to him yet. So I have it washed. I washed it recently, but I have yet to actually wear it in. Get it all Quakeumsed, and then send it to him. So I will do that. That was another one of the incentives from the donation on the stream. If we crossed our sub goal during our portion of the stream, or not sub goal, sorry, donation goal for our portion of the stream, I had to wear my Dolch shirt, which is my favorite shirt, and then ship it to Max. And obviously I'm not going to not do that because I already agreed to it, and it was for charity. So I'm going to be wearing that shirt. I'll put it on tomorrow. It's in my closet now. I just hung it up. I'm going to put that on tomorrow, or maybe tonight. Who knows? Maybe I'll sleep in it. Maybe Max will appreciate that. But yeah, then I'm going to be sending that to Max. So thank you very much for the raid, Max. But that's the backstory of the Dolch shirt, if you guys are curious. A couple people are asking what they mean by, or what we mean rather, by mech trumps or top trumps. If you want to, you're better at explaining that, Jay. If you want to give a quick rundown.
Yeah. So what we do is we, if you've ever played top trumps, basically you have a series of cards which might have it could be about cars or it could be about monsters or characters or whatever, and effectively they have a list of attributes. So it might be strength, for example, and I might say my card's got a strength of 99 out of 100, your card's got a strength of 54 out of 100, therefore I win that round. You might then come back and it might be charisma, and you might say, well, my character's got 68 charisma and yours, Jay, has only got 21 charisma because I'm not very charismatic, so therefore you would win that round. And effectively we do that with keyboards, but we get the chat to vote on it. So we have like a voting system in the background, and Mr. Keebs came on the last episode. He showed one of his boards off. I showed one of my boards off in each round. We had a couple of minutes to talk about our boards and try and convince the chat to vote for us. And then we let chat vote. And whoever won the vote after 2 minutes, people had 2 minutes to put their votes in, they won that round, and they get a little light bulb symbol come up at the side of them. The first person to win 3 rounds out of 5, even though we finish it off anyway and do all 5 rounds, the first person to win 3 rounds out of 5 was effectively the winner of the show. Mr. Keebs won 3 rounds by 1 point in each round. So it looked like a whitewash in the end, but it was actually really, really close. But it was a really, really good fun game.
It was
we
really
thoroughly
cool.
enjoyed it. And as I say, I did have Mr. Nathan Kim lined up to come back on and do the second episode, and then that kind of fell through because of scheduling conflicts, and it kind of just didn't happen again. It didn't come back. So yeah, but it was good fun. It was good fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Chuletas is asking, what do you mean by subathon as well? So that's kind of a term that not everyone is familiar with as well. So basically what that means, it's a stream, but as people subscribe, or gift subs, or what they have you, there is a timer, and the more subs that Top Clack receives, or anyone else in this scenario, I guess, the longer the clock goes, basically. So we'll start out with a specific amount of time. Let's say, I don't know, 4 hours or 6 hours, or whatever, whatever it is. And then at any time someone subs or gifts a sub, time is added to the clock. So, and then you keep streaming until the clock runs out, and as people sub, the clock just keeps going up, and eventually you could be left with a potentially very long stream, depending on how generous / malicious people are. I mean, that's kind of a joke, but Yeah, and it's just a fun thing, and you know we've had a couple streamers in the past do it. Nathan Kim did it to quite a bit of success. I mean, obviously Top Clack is quite a bit smaller than Teha types, for example, so I don't think ours would go terribly long, all things considered. But
I think Nathan Kim got to the point where he had to put the timer down to 30 seconds per sub. I think we'd be good to put like 15 per sub, and we'd be all right, and that might keep us going for a few hours. So we'll timer, we'll have some subs, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it should be a really fun stream. We'll get loads of guests on. We'll get them to share their boards. We'll rate our own boards. We'll talk about our top 5 of our collection. We'll play Mech Trumps with a couple of people. We can have Brian as an adjudicator between me and, say, I don't know, 159, and then I can be the adjudicator.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah.
We can get chat involved. We can get some of you guys to share your pictures of your favorite boards, and we can bring them up on stream and talk about what we like and dislike about them. We could have like a really fun interactive stream. That could be really good fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I am all about that. Yeah, you guys are always more than welcome to share your thoughts and ideas. Our DMs are always open. We're always looking for cool things to do, fun collaborations and ideas, constructive criticisms and feedback. Always looking for all of it, man. Piot is also saying, can we involve the chat? 2 members post pictures of theirs, others vote. So maybe turn it into a game where it's not just necessarily us. Or high-end power collectors like Mr. Keebs and stuff, where a lot of us plebs can't compete against you guys because you just have so many amazing boards. Maybe open it up to the chat. That could be a fun idea as well.
It's all about which boards they bring, because they can only bring 3 or 4 boards or whatever, depending on how many rounds we do. So they don't have access to the whole big collection to try and win. They can only bring 3, so they have to be really selective about it. Especially if we put criteria on it, like you have to have a board with a 7U spacebar, and then you have to have a board that's 40%, or or you can't have anything larger than a 65%. You put some criteria on the rounds, and it can become quite interesting. Because if someone said to me, bring a really good 40%, I've got the Equinox, I've got the Pearl, but there are some really cool 40s out there that would probably tip the scales in someone else's favor. Whereas if someone said 60 or 65s, I've probably got more of a shot, because that's what the majority of the collection is. So you can, or it might be like bring an Alps board or something like that. So you can have some really good fun with that. Really
fun. It'd be kind of fun to kind of open it up to chat and to other people as well, and maybe we can effectively be judges in a way, or something like that, and other people can kind of compete in like some kind of simple bracket or something, make like a mini tournament out of it or something. Like we could do a lot of things. Nebula says, let's do Alps. I don't currently own an Alps keyboard.
So you win that by default, Nebula. Congratulations, well done.
Yeah, that very exciting to watch. I'm sure chat loved that competition. But yeah, I think it could be pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and with that said, I think we were actually caught up on the Q&A as well. So
under 2 hours.
Technically, it's over if you include the starting soon screen, but technically we're still under. But we actually had a reasonably timed show today. It was a relatively short news doc, and we got through it. And now people don't have to look at our shaved faces for very much longer, which is kind of nice, right?
My massive hair, whatever.
Your hair is fantastic today. I wish I could do something like that.
It's just really, really long. It doesn't look that long, but it's actually like, it's almost down to my chin now, so it's getting really long.
All right, guys. Well, that is our cue to head out, and Jay can actually get some sleep for the first time in Top Clack history. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the show as much as we enjoyed doing it for you today. I thought it was a very chill, relaxing show today after the insane streaming that we did over the previous weekend. So very, very, very happy about that. I thought it went quite well. Any closing thoughts, Jay?
Come check out the stream on Sunday. We're going to build the production model of the JO2. Really excited to show you guys the changes that we've made and tweaks that we've made, quality of life improvements that make the board, in my opinion, a lot better than what the original prototype was. So I'm really excited to show that out. This is actually going to be UPass's personal board, so I'll be shipping it out to him once it's built and everything else. So I'm going to keep the plate and PCB assembly for my personal build, but it's his actual case that we'll be testing on. So yeah, really excited to show that. It's going to be a good fun stream on Sunday.
Yes, absolutely. Also shout out to the Raging Asian who just tier 1 subbed for 26 months in a row. Thanks, Ray. Appreciate that, man.
He's
Also,
on his third baby, third top pack baby next
also
month.
he has a sad face, and he says, "I just got here because we're leaving." He always comes in at the tail end. That's classic Ray. Just the way we love him, though. But yeah, shout outs to all of you. Thanks to all of you in particular that donated bits today, that subbed. We hit that level 5 hype train, I think, earlier on. So that was epic.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Thank you so much for that, guys. You guys have been super amazing and super wholesome today. I love to see it. And oh yeah, I'm actually doing a build stream, not tomorrow, but I'm going to be doing a build stream on Saturday, guys. Probably around 3, 4, 5-ish p.m. Pacific time. Of course, I will announce it before in our Discord link below. So make sure you look below the stream. You can find the links to our Discord. You can join us there. You can come talk to us, I don't know, about hard ciders or cheese or quesadillas or keyboards. Whatever. There's something for everyone there. It's a really good time, so make sure to join that. Come hang out with us there. Check out our YouTube channel, also linked below. You can check out all of our VODs. They get posted there about 24 hours after the fact from Twitch. So you can always follow up on anything there. And yeah, build stream for me on Saturday, build stream from Jay on Sunday. Make sure you're there for both of them. We still have some game codes to give out as well, guys. So we'll be giving out some more game codes. So look forward to winning some of that if you're a fan of that. And yeah, until next time, guys. Have a fantastic rest of your day or night.
Yeah, see you later, guys.